second. Boom. We are live, Michael.
We're live, man. I'm so excited, guys. Today we have Bryce McKinley here, and I'm so excited because Coach Sharpen is going to be talking about sales in your real estate business. A lot of time, dude, this is going to be a crazy, disruptive episode because whenever people think of real estate, do they think of sales? Tell me, do they think of sales?
No.
No. No.
They never do.
No, but if you are in real estate or you're thinking about getting in real estate, you never think about sales. So guys, today I wanted to bring Bryce McKinley here. And if you're watching this live on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're listening to this, this is going to be crazy. And for those of you guys that are just hopping on, my name is Michael Tucker. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur. I got into real estate about 2 or 3 years ago. And now we're running a six-figure flipping business. And we're on our way to 100 rental properties. That's our goal. By the end of 2021, we're going to get 100 rental properties to create passive income. And my passion is bringing people on like Bryce to share about how they've grown their real estate business and about what they're doing right now to excel. So Bryce, dude, welcome. And thank you for taking the time to do this with me because I've been wanting to learn about sales in real estate for a long time. And I've heard you talk briefly about it in the past, and I'm so excited to have you expound on it. So welcome, man. Thank you so much for being on here.
Man, Michael, first and foremost, thank you, bro. This is your podcast, and you're amazing, right? Like, we've had a chance to chat briefly at masterminds and then online. And, dude, I only work with people that are serious about working with me, and you're serious. Not only did you do an interview with my partner, Kyle, simultaneously, like a 3-way interview. You did one with him separately and with me separately. And I'm just as excited, man. I love your energy. I love the fact that you love people and you serve the same God that I serve. So thank you for having me on. I'm excited. Sales is one of my biggest and favorite things to talk about next to my son, hashtag the middle school millionaire, right?
And your son's amazing as well. I want everybody to check out the middle school millionaire because this dude is rocking it. Bryce, man, I couldn't say anything better than that, about your son because he's amazing.
I appreciate that.
Well, dude, let's jump right in. Like, I've already told people, like in the intro, I've already told them what you're about, and everybody knows from past episodes who you are. But let's jump right into sales. Like I said, because most people don't think about sales when they think about real estate. And why is that? Why do you think people don't think about sales when it comes to real estate?
That's a great question. I think that people fail to recognize the sales process in any industry. I mean, if you walk into Old Navy, those poor gals and guys that are hanging shirts, they're salesmen if they really, truly love and care their product and service that they offer, right? But because of the terminology and the stigma around salespeople, they just don't want to address the elephant in the room. And at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a real estate investor, a car salesman, an accountant, or you're in business for yourself, or heck, maybe you're a parent and you're trying to get your kids to do the laundry or pick up their laundry or do the dishes, you are acting in the capacity like a salesperson, convincing somebody that it's in their best interest to fulfill their needs and wants with a desired outcome. And so it takes having an intelligent conversation. And so, I did a TED Talk one time, Michael, before TED Talks were TEDx, and they were really popular like 18 years ago.
Wow.
And in that that TED Talk, I talked about I don't close and we should open. They talk about at graduation time, like a commencement, right? Which means to open doors of opportunity. Maybe we should stop closing deals and start commencing. And when you do that and you show people that your value, your proposition, your ideal, your features, your benefits far outweigh the option of not utilizing them, guess what? You've just become a salesperson. The difference, Michael, is being a salesperson or being a sales professional. And that's what I identify as. I'm a sales professional, and I can show anybody the value as long as they need and or want my product or service. And I'm the best that there is, hands down.
Wow. Yeah, for everybody that's doesn't know Bryce, if you're on his page right now watching, or if you've done some research, you know this dude is legit. Bryce, listen, he's getting ready to speak on this weekend the same stage as Damon John. Okay, if you know Damon John, listen, he's a big dude in the entrepreneurship industry. He's made billions of dollars in sales. And so this dude is on the same level. Bryce is on that same level. So I'm so excited, dude. Everything you're pouring out right now, I'm just soaking in because I know how valuable this is. So that's a good example and a good story, and what you were saying about why people don't think about it. So let's transition to, we're going to talk about how to do it here in just a little bit, how to become that sales professional in the real estate industry. But before we set that all up, why is it important? Why is it important that people become good at sales, whether they want to or not, in their wholesaling business, in their flipping business? Why is that important? Why do you think that's important?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I tell you why it's important to become a sales professional, I want to say this. If you're watching this live and not on the podcast that's coming out in a few weeks, like, share this out. Somebody needs to hear this, and don't just take my word for it. I've had people tell me that they have doubled and tripled their business with the information that I'm about to give. So like it, love it, hate it, I don't care. Share it out. Just don't do nothing. So Michael, the question is why is it important to be a sales professional? Well, I think it goes a step further. I don't necessarily think that you have to identify as a sales professional to be an amazing communicator. And that's the art, that's the mastery, coming with the idea that I'm not selling anything, but I am communicating that the features and benefits far outweigh the value of a product or service, and that your needs, wants, and desires can only be met by my product or service. So how do we do that? Well, I believe that there are 5 simple steps. You want to get your husband to do the dishes, you want your kids to maybe pick up their toys or do something for you, you've got to go through a series or a pattern of conversation. And it's the same no matter what product or service you sell, right? Like I told you before we got live, I mean, it's the same process that I used when I still am, and I haven't sold a car in 15 years in the automotive industry. It's the same process that I used when I was teaching CIA operatives how to negotiate hostage negotiation situations. It's the same process that I use when I'm buying or selling or flipping a house. So the process never changes. And so you have to learn to trust the process. And 2, know that the only variable in there is 2 parts. It's the person that you're speaking to and the product or service or widget that you're trying to convey. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. You're
Yeah.
making, like, I'm just taking it all in because everything you're saying is like, all right, I get that. I get that. And
Good.
okay, so that's very good. So why don't we jump right into this process? And for everybody that's listening or watching, I asked him this question and he just answered it. But the question before we hopped on, I said, dude, so what you're telling me right now, what you're going to be telling our audience, this is the same stuff you've taught to Honda and all these other big mass corporate headquarters. I've said, this is the same system. He's like, yeah, dude, this is the same exact stuff. And he was laying out how simple it is, and it can be used in any industry. So this is going to be powerful. So Bryce, let's jump right in. What is this simple sales process you use, whether you're, trying to sell cars or you're selling real estate or trying to wholesale houses? What can you dive into that and explain that to us? Because I want this to be powerful, and I hope that everybody's ready for this. I hope they're ready to take notes, because I know this is going to be amazing. So let's just jump right in, and we're stop talking about it, beating around the bush. Let's actually get into it. I'm excited, man.
I love it. I love it. So when I think about the process, what comes to my mind as a metaphor is like going to the gym, right? Like you're trying to find a desired outcome, whether it's slimming down or bulking up or just merely getting in shape. That's with any sales professional. We're either trying to get a business started, or we're trying to go to scale, or we're just trying to get our first deal done, right?
Right.
And so it's the same thing at the gym. When I go into a conversation, I follow the same steps that we would if we were going to work out. So step number one, and I'm going to go through my 5 steps today, and I'm going to go in much deeper at this event that I have coming up this weekend with Damon John. So if you're watching this and you want to go in deeper, click the link up above and join me and Damon John and David Meltzer and some of the best in real estate. Come join us this weekend for an online virtual summit. It's Saturday, June 27th, Sunday, the 28th, and we're doing a special fireside chat on Monday, the 29th. So you don't want to miss this. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to be there too,
$100.
guys. I'm signing up right after this. We're going to hop off. I'm signing up for this event because there's so many high level players going to be on there. I can't miss it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So let's dive in, right? Like, let's quit talking about it and be about it. That's what you said, right? I love it. Thank you. So here's what that looks like. If I go to the gym, well, I go with the intention to bulk up or slim down or whatever. What's the first thing that I do every single time that I walk into the gym? I stretch out, I warm up, right? So step number one is you have to warm up. You cannot just dive into a conversation and expect the information to be retained. You have to warm up. And I use a very simple acronym that many have used over the years, and a lot of teachers and instructors and sales professionals stop utilizing. But at the end of the day, you got to get back to the basics. And nobody stopped stretching out before they started working out. So we got to stretch out. We got to warm up. And so I say that we have to warm with form. FORM. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, always solves motivation. So if you don't know what somebody's family, occupation, or recreation look like, or what they're for, if you don't know what they're for, you'll never solve their money or their motivation to accomplish the task at hand. So we have to warm up, right? Like we have to stretch out at the gym. Step number 2 is what I call bridging the gap. If I'm working out at the gym, Michael, I'm not just going to go in and start bench pressing 400 pounds, right?
I don't know, man. You look pretty strong. I'd say you could do that.
I'm a big guy. I mean, I'm 6'5" and 250, but there's no way today that I'm going to jump into the gym and start bench pressing 400 pounds. But if I warm up and I bridge the gap, meaning I put 150, 200, gotcha. 250, 300, and I bridge the gap, I can eventually solve or get to my end goal. And it's the same thing in conversation. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about this weekend at the summit is how do we bridge the gap to make people feel like everybody else, right? Like you want to bench press 400 pounds, but you got to know that the guy over there with the big bulk muscles didn't start out that way. So you have to assimilate where you're going with where they want to be. Or in other words, you have to paint their desired reality as far away from their current reality as possible. And when you do that, you're the only person in between. You're the only solution to the problem, right? Or the motivation. Wow. So we bridge the gap. We bridge the gap. Now, picture this. You're working out at the gym and you're bench pressing, you're going, you're in rep 8, you're in rep 9, you're in rep 10. What happens? Your mind starts playing tricks and chemicals start shooting off in every which way. And your brain says that you are weaker and you have to stop. We all know that that's not true because if you take a quick break, you can go right back at it with the same propensity and velocity that you were before. So in a conversation, you have to do the same thing. You have to be able to create those limiting beliefs so that way when you set the weight down or you close out your set in step 4, guess what? You're stronger, you're more confident. So step 3 in the conversation pattern is asking defeating questions. And when you ask defeating questions, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And when you ask a question with curiosity and certain tonalities, you can actually get people to change their mind or question, create a limiting belief around what their beliefs are.
Can you give us an example of that, man?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to. So for example, let's say that you're trying to get your son to pick up his room and you've warmed up, you started bridging the gap, you want to play with other kids in the neighborhood. I'm curious, I'll use my son, hashtag the middle school millionaire. And I'm not going to say his name, but hey, middle school millionaire, I'm curious. Like, if you want to go outside and play like the other kids, I got to ask, have you picked up your room yet? Notice that feeling as if you were that little kid. You just second guessed yourself and you're like, oh shit, you picked up, you looked around in your head. No, it's not done yet. And what do they say? Well, I started, yeah. But they're not as accurate and not as integral as they would have if you just said, had you picked up your room?
Yeah. Well, I liked your tonality, man. That the tonality there, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, that's key.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? And so when you ask with that curiosity and like uptick, as it's called, at the end of your questions, you're going to create a doubt or a fear in their mind that the only solution to that is the person asking the questions if they ask enough of the right questions done the right way. So let's talk about real estate, right? We're both in real estate and other investors are going to watch this. What if instead of walking through a house, you said, oh gosh, that wall definitely needs to be taken down? What if you said, oh wow, to look like the other houses in the neighborhood that are selling at full price, we probably need to take this wall down, don't you think?
Oh, make them agree with you. I got you.
Get it to be their idea. Or have you ever considered taking this wall down so that you could be like everybody else that's getting full price for their house? Right?
Right, yeah.
So now they know they're not going to get full price and they know that the wall's got to take down. That's 5 to 10 grand right off of their price. And you haven't even talked about price yet. So you start asking these defeating questions. And then what happens when you're at the gym? Once you've asked X amount of questions, well, then the only thing else to do if you're at the gym and you have this limiting belief is step 4, close out your set or rack the bar, right?
Right.
Well, that's when you go in. Once you've gotten enough information to solve their problem, you close the deal. You ask for the deal. You set the appointment, whatever it is, you get that deal done and to the finish line. But wait, it's not over. Notice that I said rack the bar. You want to be able to ask better questions and do it with more proficiency? You should use the word RAQ, R-A-Q, as an acronym to ask better questions. So let's say that they said, yeah, I've thought about taking that wall down. You rack them, repeat, acknowledge with the feeling or an emotion, and then you ask them a question. So then you say, man, Michael, so you have thought about taking that wall down. Gosh, that probably is a little overwhelming. Have you gotten any bids or estimates on how much that's going to cost you? Notice I just acknowledged them. Now it feels all warm and fuzzy. I gave them a feeling and an attachment, something that they can hold on to. And then I asked them a question to dig deeper into that pain. Like, gosh, it's going to be like $20,000. Whew, $20,000. That's got to be frustrating. Do you have $20,000 to fix that wall to get more for your house today? See what I did there? Yeah. 3 questions, and now they just deducted their price 30 grand because they know they got a couple bids that were 20, 25, 30 grand, and we haven't even talked about price yet.
Listen, guys, this is powerful because so many of us, like I've experienced this myself, and I'm going to be straight up. I do this myself. I catch myself just jumping in straight from asking, looking at the property, taking pictures and jumping in and just asking them, like, so what's the price, and I never ask those deep and meaningful questions. And if you can perfect this, I'd say your wholesaling business is going to double or triple. And Bryce, tell me, what have your students and the people you've taught do this? Have they had that success? Like, what success are they seeing when they perfect this?
I'm so glad you asked, Michael, because I'm proud to say that REI Results and Coach Sharpen is the only real estate coaching program in America and in the world that has had a 100% success rate. I've had
Wow.
2 people leave our academy. One moved to China for a job for their spouse, and the other one had a piss poor attitude that I don't deal with, and I cut him out. Other than that, we've had a 100% success rate, and over 300 plus students that we've coached to success, leaving 9-to-5 jobs in less than 6 and 9 months, quitting their day job, going all in full time.
So
But
guys,
that's
this isn't
not where
just
the
stuff
process.
this isn't just stuff that he's saying you should do. Like, he's saying this because it helps. It will help propel your business to the next level. And maybe you have a wholesaling business right now and you're stuck at a certain level. Maybe you're stuck, doing just 1 or 2 deals a month. This could be the thing you need to take your business to the next level. Maybe this is what you need to take, I don't know, maybe your other business outside of real estate to the next level. So this stuff, guys, although it may seem a little overwhelming at first, this stuff is powerful if you can perfect it. So sorry to interrupt you, man. I just wanted to point that out just for a second.
No, you're good, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So I don't want people to get stuck on, well, I got to ask these questions and then I ask for the deal. Then what do I do? Because there's 5 steps, right?
Right.
Well, just like at the gym, when you put that bar down, before you leave and go home so you don't hurt yourself, what do? You stretch back out.
Cool down.
You cool down, or like I like to say, we always warm with form.
Right.
So we warm down with form, and we like, man, Michael, I'm so glad that we did this interview today and I could impact and help so many thousands of people. I'm curious, how are you going to go celebrate tonight? You're going to go take Taylor, I think it is, that commented down below. You're going to go take her out to dinner and celebrate?
Yeah. You start getting them excited, right?
Yeah, we warm down with form. We talk about their family.
What happens if you don't do this?
What's that?
What happens if you don't do this? If you don't
do this, you're going to have chargebacks. If you don't do this, you're going to have people say, hey, I had another investor offer me more. Hey, this just isn't going to work. And they call back the next day and cancel the deal or back out or never show up to your closing. If you don't warm down with form, the propensity of cancellations and deals going bad are going to greatly increase. But if you do, you'll see, if you start implementing this, you'll see that your close rate and stick rate, meaning the ability to hold deals longer and get them across the finish line, will drastically increase, because now you've created an atmosphere to where it's not about the business, it's about their family, their occupation, and what's important to them.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like real estate, whenever it comes to sales and real estate, and this is probably every industry, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's all about building that relationship. And everything you're talking about is, especially when you're talking about warming up and with form, it's all about building that relationship. It's so important. People forget about it. They overlook it. Oh, why should I take the time to build that rapport? Listen, that's a key part of your business. If you don't do that, you probably aren't going to close as many deals as some of these other guys that are out there using this system and this process that Bryce has. So it's all about relationships. And the moment I found that out, man, it's crazy. Like, for example, building relationships helped me out recently. Whenever I want to buy some land here in our local town and I want to develop it into an apartment complex there. And so I went and visited the guy. I went and knocked on his door at his house. I just looked him up on the PVA and talked to him. And we sat on the porch for like 30 minutes, chatted. And that relationship I was building just by sitting with this old dude on the porch, asking him those questions, like Bryce was saying, I was asking about his family. He has cancer, asking about that, getting deep with him. He called me a week later and said, hey, I don't want to sell the land you want, but I have a lot right down the road. Would you be interested? So this relationship, it's key. So
let me clarify something real quick, Michael, because there's a lot of misconception that building relationships mean that you have to have something in common.
Right.
And one of the biggest challenges that I find when I coach, Fortune 500 businesses, or maybe just the guy getting started in the real estate business, is that us humans, we like to talk about ourselves, right? And I love what you just shared, how you can use that as an example. At the same time, think about how that relays and is portrayed when you're talking to a homeowner, or maybe you're selling cars and you're talking to the new car buyer, right? A lot of us, and I'm guilty of it too in the past, before I learned this, And a lot of my students that I've worked with and clients have done the same thing. People tend to talk about themselves. Notice when I was asking those questions of you, not once did I mention that I'm a real estate investor and that I know this, diarrhea of the mouth, right? Not once, because I asked questions about you, about the situation and the feelings and emotions that go into it. I call it the German Shepherd experience. And what I mean by that is I had a good friend of mine at the time, one of the two that I removed from my group. All she could do was make excuses and justify why she could and could not do what we were teaching. And we role played one day, and I realized that she kept making this all about her. And in role playing, she was talking to a seller, and I was listening, and I was coaching her while she was on the phone with one of these clients. They had a dog bark in the background, and she asked the question, "Oh, what kind of dog do you have?" And they said, "Oh, I've got a German Shepherd." And she said, "Oh, I do too. What's your dog's name?" Guess what? This is going to sound harsh, and this may offend some people. Nobody gives a shit about you. They don't care what kind of dog, how many dogs, and what kind of booties and pooper scoopers you have. But if you have a dog, now you should be able to ask better questions.
Right.
So instead of saying, "Oh, I like to go fishing too," say, "Oh, wow, you like to go fishing? That sounds exciting. What kind of fish do you like to catch?" Or, "Oh, you have a dog too?" Notice I said two. Now they understand, they're connecting. That can be challenging. What kind of dog do you have? And when you start asking questions about the person in front of you versus talking about you and what you have in similarity to that other person, now you've turned the tables to be in control, and you've given the other person in the communication event the permission to do business with you in their head. Does that make sense?
Powerful, man. Yeah, it makes total sense. Man, that's crazy. So
you said you wanted sales talk, brother. I'm going to increase somebody's sales today.
Yeah, definitely, man. This is powerful. I wanted you to come on here because whenever I think of sales, I think of you, man. Especially in the real estate realm, I think of Bryce McKinley. So I wanted to bring you on for that. And so after you stretch, after you were talking about working out, racking it, you stretch out again. What is it? Sorry, I thought you were saying something. Whenever you warm up there, what's next? Is there anything else after, you do the form again at the very end?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just all about setting expectations. It's all about setting expectations. So at the end of step 5, the expectation is this, or this. So for example, if I'm sending out a contract, right? And man, hey, Michael, thanks for your time today. I'm so glad that we could get this checked off your list. Like, how do you plan to celebrate? You tell me you're going to dinner. Oh, great. What kind of dinner do you like? Chicken or steak? You guys going big, or are you going to stay home? What are you doing, right? We have 2 or 3 questions or racks around that, and then the expectation of the next step. So, Michael, man, I'm so glad that we can work together. Here's what's going to happen next. As soon as we hang up, I'm going to go to work for you, and you're going to get a phone call and a text and an email or whatever your process is within the next 24 hours. And that person is going to be your point of contact. They're going to be walking you through the title process. They're going to be setting up times for our contractors to come in and give us bids on the house. And in the meantime, I need you to start packing. Fair enough? Yeah. I always say yes because it's my control. It's just now making it their idea. And now they're going to be the one following you through the path. You're setting the expectations. And now you can hang up and know that they're going to wait for you to email them, call them, or text them.
Wow. This is powerful, man. Like, I want we're going to give away, hopefully, is there a place where they can find all this information at, Bryce?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad you asked. So if you're on Facebook, and if not, go join Facebook. It's been around for a while. I have a group called Virtual Wholesaling Real Estate Tips and Techniques. Yes, it's a long name, but if you search my name, Bryce, that's BRYCE McKinley, McKinley. If you search Bryce McKinley and go to your groups, you're going to find Virtual Wholesaling Real Estate Tips and Techniques. And there's over 2 years of coaching and 2 years worth of cold calls that I've got recorded in that group. And I'm very active. Michael,
Is
you
it
know
free to
this.
join that group?
I'm sorry?
Is it free to join that group?
Absolutely free. You join that group. It doesn't cost you a dime. And my team and I and other members of my academy and coaching program will be right there to answer your questions. You type a hashtag question, put your question out there, and somebody will get to it within an hour. That's my commitment.
That's crazy.
Otherwise, you can
free,
follow
guys.
me
You can
on
find all
Facebook.
this for free.
Yeah, you can find this. You can follow me, Bryce McKinley, or on Instagram at Coach Sharpen. That's COACH Sharpen, just like the knife. SHARPEN, Coach Sharpen.
Wow, man. Guys, I wanted to bring Bryce on because sales is a must if you're wanting to grow your business to 6-7 figures, especially if you're in wholesaling. Like, this is what you need to be having your team practice on, your cold callers, your people that are going out on appointments. This is perfect. And listen, everything you're saying, Bryce, I'm taking in myself, and I'm going to be utilizing this myself. So I'm going to keep you updated on how it goes. I'm going to see if I can utilize this myself. But I wanted to bring him on because, guys, this is powerful information people don't talk about. People will talk about how to find sellers via Facebook, which is awesome, but they'll talk to you about finding tax delinquent lists, they'll, going on Zillow, but nobody talks about this topic right here. So I wanted to bring on Bryce because he's the best at it, right? So I want to bring him into you guys. And
Michael, I'm going to say this for you and your audience. If you're serious about growing the communication events in your business, talking to your employees, talking to your clients, your buyers, your contractors, any and all of the above, you go join that free group and do what I did when I first started out, right? When you're in the presence of masters, study and repeat what masters do. I went live in my group for 2 years. So I'm going to encourage you, Michael, and anybody else, you want some $100 million worth of coaching, go join the free group and go live stream yourself prospecting your clients. And I will help critique. If I can catch it live, I will personally jump in and say, hey, say this, say that, say this, say that, say this. That's actually how I got started coaching real estate. Was one of my first students went live looking for help. And then 2 weeks later, he quit doing what he was doing, started doing what I was teaching him. And now he's doing 10 or 15 transactions a month, completely virtual, a couple $100,000 a month, traveling the world and living the life that he's ever wanted. The kid's like 20, 21 years old. So if he can do it, so can you.
Definitely. So guys, that's how you become a sales monster in real estate right there. Simple process, so easy. Listen, well, I'd say it's simple and probably not easy at first, but once you agree that probably once you get into the rhythm, you get to know this, Bryce, like it probably becomes habit, right?
When you believe that you are the best source of information, it is easy because you're simply trying to solve and be a solution to whatever the problem is at hand. And so it is easy. It's just a matter of trusting the process. You warm up and you do it with form. You talk about their family, occupation, recreation so that you can solve their motivation. You bridge the gap and make them feel like everybody else that's ever been in their situation that you've been able to help. And then you ask defeating questions so that way you create a limiting belief in their head so that you're the only solution. And then you execute on the close. You get the deal, set the appointment, send the contract, and then you warm down with form and then set the proper expectations. And when you do that, every single time you will get better and better on every call.
Definitely. Well, guys, I'm actually going to put this simple process that he has, Bryce, if this is okay with you, I'm going to put it in the description. So like you guys, if you're watching this and you're like, man, I need that. Like we were talking too fast maybe, or, you didn't understand it fully. We're going to put that in the description below. If you're listening to the podcast, and it's going to be under there, the exact simple system he's talking about. It's going to be there outlined for you. So, and I'll have the link to his private free Facebook group there. And you can find all that in the description below. But Bryce, man, I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you're a busy dude. You're about to be on stage with Damon John this weekend. I'm so pumped about that. And where can people, if maybe they're watching later on, because this is going to be released here in a few weeks, is there a link they can go to that, or maybe I'll even put it below, but where can they go to get a replay of this event?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. So you can actually go if you go on Facebook, you can follow me, Bryce McKinley, or on Instagram at Coach Sharpen. In the meantime, you can go online and you'll see that there's actually a link. If you're live, you can click the link up above and join us in this virtual summit this weekend.
It's Real Estate Domination, right? Real Estate Domination Live.
Yes, Real Estate Domination Live Summit.com, I believe is what it is. Don't quote me on that. I didn't do any of the marketing. I'm just showing up to pour into people. I believe it's Real Estate Domination Live Summit.com. You can purchase the replays if you're after the fact. If you're watching this live or maybe on the replay prior to this coming weekend, the 27th, 28th, and 29th, click the link up above, share it out, like it, love it, hate it. I don't care, just don't do nothing. But you don't want to miss that, because I'm going to go into how this weekend, not only am I going to talk more in depth on what that 5-step conversation sounds like, I'm going to go into detail on my follow-up process. I'm going to actually share, if you click that link and join us, I'm actually going to share my script that I have closed over 7,000 transactions with all of the guest attendees. So you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, man, that's a lot. 7,000 transactions with this, man, that's crazy. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We're going to wrap this up. I appreciate you again, Bryce. Thank you for being on this. This is so much value to our audience, because there's so many people that pay thousands and thousands of dollars for this information through private coaching and just mentoring. So thank you so much for being able to give this out to our audience. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, my pleasure. I appreciate you, Michael. You guys watching this, God bless. Stay sharp. I'll see you at the top.
All right. See you.